Hello. Okay, so this is my sample lesson plan. This is my housemate Nick. So I'm going to go through a 10-minute task with him on modal verbs. So modal verbs modify the meaning of the main verb in a sentence. So they're things like should and ought to and have to, and they would change the meaning. So for instance, I would say, you should do this. For instance, you should brush your teeth. So the main verb in there would be brush your teeth, and should changes the meaning of that. Yeah, I could say you could brush your teeth, or you should brush your teeth, or you ought to, or you have to. And those are the auxiliary verbs that change the meaning of brush. So we're going to do a matching task on these modal verbs, which I would show you in a text if we were doing a full lesson, and they would help you to understand that text. So what I have is, on the left hand side, we have the modal verbs. So they're should, ought to, have to, can, could, must, and would. And then I have the definitions of those words there. So I just want you to take 2 minutes and you match the auxiliary verbs with the meanings. So are you matching?
Yes.
And what are you matching?
Auxiliary verbs. No, modal verbs, sorry.
Modal verbs. They are auxiliary verbs.
Yeah.
Both is right. Yeah. They're both modal verbs and auxiliary verbs. Yeah, so you're matching them with their...
Yeah, with their meaning.
Yeah. Okay, great. So 2 minutes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, right, well then.
Let's see. Yeah. But yeah. So some of them match up with 2. Did you do that as well? Like the ones with 2? I thought it'd make it more difficult if there wasn't just one to join to.
Yeah.
So the ones that have got 2,
Yeah, they match up with more than one.
they join with more than one, and then on this side, when they've got the 2 as well, they join with another. For instance, should and ought to really mean the same thing, so they would obviously go to the same thing, you know. Just 20 seconds left anyway, so we'll go through them in a bit of feedback in a second anyway. Okay. So which one do you think should matches up with?
You are allowed.
Should.
Oh no, it's a good idea to do this. So.
Yeah, it's a good idea to do this. Yeah, very good. And ought to. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, both. It's a good idea to do this.
Yeah, so it's a good idea to do this as well. Okay, and have to.
You have no choice.
Yeah, you have no choice. And can.
You are allowed.
Yeah, you are allowed. And that goes with another one.
It's a good idea to do this.
No, there's another one. it's sort of a possibility.
If you were able.
There's one here that sort of indicates the possibility with it.
Oh, it might be.
Yeah. So sometimes you'd say, to give an example, it can mean this,
Yeah.
or something like that. If it's cloudy, it can mean it's going to rain,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rain. It might just be a cloudy day that's not raining. And could. What did you get for could?
Oh, yeah, I've done it 9 minutes, but it's going to be you do it if you're able to. Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it if you're able to.
Yeah. Again, it's both of them. Yeah. There. Yeah. And must.
You have no choice.
Yeah, must means you have no choice, so you must do this. And it also means another one.
I think mine's just wrong there. See, I've gone with it's a good idea to do this, but I don't know why.
This one, to give an example.
Yeah, I was wondering about that one.
So, for instance, I must have shaved because I'm clean,
Yeah.
because I'm clean shaven. So, the evidence says this definitely happened.
Right.
By the evidence of my face, I've obviously just shaved. I must have shaved, yeah. And would. What did you get for would?
You do it if you were able.
Yeah,
I think that's about it.
yeah. So that's I would do this if I was able.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If I could fly, I would. Okay. So I've got should and ought to together here with their meanings. So with should, how do you pronounce should after me? Should.
Should.
Yeah. And ought to.
Ought to.
Yeah. In a sentence, you'd have what you'd call a weak. The two would be a weak form of it. So I'd say ought to, but if I put it in a sentence, I'd say you ought to do this. So there's that difference where it's to and to
Yeah.
in a sort of natural speech in a sentence, the natural flow of a sentence. So when you say someone should or ought to do something, are you giving advice?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it a good idea if someone should do something? Is it a good idea that they do that?
No.
If someone should or ought to do something, say you should brush your teeth again. Is it a good idea for you to brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah. And must. So something must have happened. Did it happen or didn't it?
It did.
Yeah. And what's that based on?
Evidence that said it must have happened.
Yeah. Okay. And must. So repeat the pronunciation. Must.
Must.
Yeah. And have to. That again is the same as ought to. So you've got ought to, and then you've got you ought to do this. So you've got you have to do this as well. So the pronunciation of that again is have to. Have to. Yeah. And if you have to do it, will you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have a choice?
No.
No. Okay. And would. Do you want to do something that you would do?
No. Would.
You would do it.
Would if you're able to. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're not able to do it. But do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is there something stopping you doing it if you would do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can and could. So it can mean this, or it could be true. Does it definitely mean it's true?
Yeah. No. What? No.
No.
No,
And
it can mean this.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It doesn't. No.
No. And does it definitely mean it's not true?
No.
No. It's uncertain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but is it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know at that point. It can. It's cloudy. It could rain today, or it can rain. Okay, so as I say, as modal verbs are auxiliary verbs which indicate modality, that is likelihood, ability, permission, and obligation. So likelihood, it could be ability, you can do this, permission, you're allowed, and obligation, you must. So I could sleep longer, I'm able. I must wear shoes to college, I'm obliged. I should be able to get here on time, it's likely. I can print out worksheets here, I'm allowed and I'm able to do it. So how many verbs are in a sentence containing a modal verb? So you have your main verb and then you have the modal verb, which is also the auxiliary.
Maybe two.
Yeah. So there's always at least two there, unless there was another clause making more verbs. Okay. So that's my sample lesson.